So what did you take from the first first two NCAA tournament games that you guys can build on here moving forward?
Just really getting comfortable in that setting. Obviously at the end of the day it's really just basketball, but it's on obviously a bigger stage. A lot more is at stake every game. Every team in the tournament is really, really good. Obviously Texas was lower seed than us. They felt like a very good team. They were ranked super high at the beginning of the year, and it kind of shows you like there's just a lot of really good teams that are seeded lower because of how they did in the tournament or how they did in the regular season.
Have you been officiated differently the last 2 years?
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of foul calls that I believe have always been fouls that just haven't been called in the Big Ten. I feel like now that when people are slapping my arms and stuff, I'm actually getting foul calls instead of the refs trying to kind of balance the fouls for both teams. I've gotten to the line a lot more. I've had a lot more success in that area because I feel like I've been officiated. I don't want to say properly, but I feel like I've been officiated. They haven't really looked at my height and said he can't get fouled. They've looked at me and said that's a foul. That's really what's happened, I think.
How refreshing is that? Does that allow you to play the game how you want to play it?
Yeah, obviously it makes me feel like I'm properly protected in the game. Sometimes I'll make a strong move or I'll avoid making those strong moves in the Big Ten because people will just hit my arms and no fouls. Those are usually tougher finishes. Whereas now I can seek out that contact and try to finish through that for some more foul opportunities in this tournament.
Just a quick question real quick about your offensive dynamic here with this team. You obviously have you and Travion, you could build a whole offense around. You have Jaden, you could build a whole offense around. How have you guys learned to kind of coexist with those two elements? Because Jaden obviously needs space. You guys take up a lot of space. Was there any sort of process that had to, kind of play out for you guys to be as comfortable as you could be, complementing one another?
Yeah, obviously I never had to figure out how to play with Travion because we haven't really played.
Yeah.
But figuring out how to play with Jaden was it's tough because he obviously wants to, like everyone, he wants to get his, he wants to score the ball, he wants to try the balls, to get to the lane, get the paint touches, get the assists, stuff like that. So you have to kind of play around him almost sometimes when you get those mismatches on a bigger guy. You have to space the floor, maybe not post up. But I think one thing we really found that's worked, especially with me and Jaden and me and Aaron, has just been that transition ball screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple,
yeah,
but it's really been effective. We've gotten a lot of open looks this season.
Yeah, I mean, is it something you have to go into games thinking about? I got to stay out of Jaden's way in certain situations here and not bring extra defenders into the paint.
Yeah, obviously he's a special player, but coming off the ball screens, I want to try to make his life as easy as possible. I want to set a good ball screen. I want to try to seal my man in the paint so my man can't really get those contests on him, stuff like that. Create room for him as much as possible. Even when it looks like I'm clogging up the paint, I'm really trying to move the dude out the way, stuff like that, to make his life as easy as possible.
I'd imagine he's kind of an offensive rebounder dream too. When he gets all the way to the basket, makes the defense collapse. And
the only problem is he makes most of
it. Heading into the first two NCAA tournament games, you and Travion kind of talked about just some of the challenges of playing against smaller lineups, some of those smaller guys that can really get under you, make your jobs a little bit difficult, I guess, on the offensive end. After 2 games against Yale, then against Texas, then another kind of smaller lineup coming up in St. Peter's, do you feel like you're a little bit more well-adjusted to some of those kind of lineups and how you're supposed to properly play against them and all those kind of things that go into it on the offensive end of the floor?
Yeah, for sure. It's obviously different to play differently. I think I learned a lot of it over in Latvia, actually, because most of the Latvian teams or teams over there didn't have a big guy besides Team USA, really. They didn't have a 7-footer, so I had to learn how to kind of move, play physical without fouling guys like that. Play through a lot of contact, and then obviously dominate the offensive glass, so they can't really box me out. And that's something I've really been putting the stress on instead of trying to get to a lot of my post moves and stuff like that because they've double teamed me a lot. It's a lot of post double passing, finding the open man, and then just getting on the offensive glass every single time.
Does anything change for you at all, I guess, when you're going against these teams that maybe have more, I guess, they're not as tall, obviously, and take up not as much space, but they're more athletic, kind of like shot-blocking type forwards and centers, I guess, on some of these teams? Anything change for you, I guess, in your offensive approach?
Yeah, obviously, we've gone against a lot of, Texas has some talented centers, some athletic centers. You have to really get into their chest to take away their jumping ability. So you try to play a lot of really physical with them, because a lot of times people can jump high like that. They don't have the body weight to match more physical guys like myself. So it's really playing physical with getting to the chest and then using freeze fakes is something I have to really work on going forward.